Hello everyone, we are going to go over the basic setup and installation for SFML that we will use throughout the duration of this course. Now to do this we will be making use of CMake, and the choice of CMake is because I know users might not be using the same IDE or their setup might be slightly different. So CMake ensures that we keep the setup the same regardless of what IDE you will be using. Okay. However, throughout the duration of this course, I will be using my preferred IDE, which is VS Code. Now, whichever IDE you're using, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make two files. The first one is a CMake lists.txt file. Next, we are going to make just a simple main.cpp as a demonstration that the setup works. Okay, and before we begin, if you are using VS Code, there are a few extensions that you will want. You will definitely want the C and C++ extension. This is quite obvious. I mean, this is the language that we will be using throughout this course. Same with the extension pack. And then we will also want the CMake extension, CMake tools, all right? And another extension that will be useful for VS Code users, a lot of you will probably already have it, is exe runner. It allows us to run our program straight in VS Code, which is just a quality of life thing. All right, it's not necessary. So let's begin. The CMake list itself is based off of the SFML CMake list tutorial, so not a lot will change. Okay. The first thing we are going to do is set the CMake minimum required version to version 3.28 as per the tutorial for setting up CMake for SFML. A lot of dependencies that they use require this version, so as long as it is this minimum version, it should be fine. Next, we are going to set up the project, and the name of this will be, let's say, SFML setup. Okay. And languages will be in C++, which in CMake is just CXX. We are then going to set the CMake run time output directory. Okay. This is the folder that our exe will be located in, and a common place to do this is if we take our CMake binary directory, we put it in the /bin. So when you run a CMake list file, you will get a bin folder, or a build folder, sorry, and inside that build folder is our CMake binary directory. That's that location. And we will have a folder called bin, which will have all our exe files. In our case, most of the time, it's just going to be one. Okay, that's quite a common thing to do, is put it in a bin folder. All right. Next, we want to include a module called fetch content. This will allow us to actually download SFML or get it from the GitHub. Okay. We will then be able to call fetch content underscore. Fetch content underscore declare. Okay, this is the metadata for our fetch content call that we will be making, and we will be getting a module called SFML. We can call this whatever we want, but SFML makes the most sense. We will be getting this from the Git repository. Okay, and the location for this can be found. It is the official GitHub link to SFML right over here. We will paste that in, and we will put a .git at the end. The Git tag could also be achieved by going to the GitHub link for SFML, going to the tag section, and in our case, the latest tag is 3.0.2. This might change depending on when you are watching this tutorial. 3.0.2. We are then going to say git shallow 3.0, sorry, git shallow on. All right, this is just a quicker fetch. It doesn't fetch all the history, it just fetches the latest version, which is all we really need. Okay, then some optional commands is exclude from all and system. This is just recommended by the SFML setup guide for CMake. You don't have to do this, but it's nice to have, and we will just add them. It doesn't affect us in any way for what we are going to do. Okay. Then we will do a fetch content underscore make a available, and we will make available our SFML above. All right. This just takes our metadata that we created over here and actually fetches it and makes it available for us to use in our project. All right. Next, we will add executable for our project, and our executable we are going to call SFML setup, or let's do it small letters, SFML setup, like that. Okay. And we are going to link that to main.cpp that we have created over here. Okay. Put on a new line like this. Okay. Sorry, I misclicked. Then next, what we are going to do is target compile features right over there. And we are going to take our executable, which is SFML setup, and we are going to say when compiling this, we will add the private tag to say that only when compiling this, not any other target. We are going to enforce C++ version. Now the guide says 17 because that's what you need for SFML. However, we will be using C++ standard 20 for the duration of this course. We are then going to target link libraries. And again, our target is SFML setup. Again, we are only going to apply this to this target. Not sure what happened there. And for this, we are going to grab the modules from SFML. We're going to grab graphics. Going to grab audio. And we are going to grab network. All right. Now this is our CMake list. As you can see, we have a build directory because it's a habit. I clicked Control S earlier. We're just going to delete this again. Okay. And now when you're done with your CMake lists, you will press Control S to save it in the console. You will see it will start creating this build directory right over here. It will get the dependencies from this GitHub link, aka SFML. It might do some tests that SFML has built in, some atomic tests to see if everything is there, and set up all the dependencies. It will link our executable. It will see if main.cpp actually exists in this file path, all of those things. Okay, so we'll just give it some time and wait for it to finish. All right, there we go. Build files have been written successfully. All greens, everything is good. And we should have this build directory over here. We have our bin folder, which is currently empty because we have not actually built any targets yet. All right. Now we are done with our CMake lists. We can go to our main CPP and we can just create a little example to show that SFML is actually downloaded and it is working. And what we are going to do is make a simple int main, right? You should be familiar with this. We are going to include now our SFML, and as you can see, if we go slash, here's all the SFML files. We should see all of them if CMake work correctly. And what we are going to take is graphics, which includes a lot of things, okay? Most of the time we will just be including graphics unless you're doing audio or network things, okay? Now you don't have to worry about the following code. You don't have to really understand it or know what it's doing. This is just an example to see that actually SFML is downloaded. We are going to make a render window. We'll just call it window, right? Sorry, not sure what's going on there with all those hints. Right, and this window, we will give it a video mode, which is a size of, let's make the window 800 by 600, right? Then next we are going to, let me just get rid of these hints. Next, we are going to give it a title of, let's just say SFML setup. All right, there's its title. Okay, our window is now created. We are going to make a main while loop for our window. And we're going to say while window is open. Okay, logically, right? Then we are going to say while auto const event. So we are going to check for events in this window by polling events like this. Okay, and we are going to check. So I use auto, you could say std optional, because poll event just returns std optional. We don't have to worry about that now. If the event is a SF event of closed, aka we close the window, then what we are going to do is just simply say window close. This allows us to actually close the window. Otherwise you'd have to actually terminate the exe to close it, and I mean we don't want that. Okay, that's a bit annoying. We're going to say window clear, and we're going to clear it with an SF color of black, just so our window has some color. Okay. Window dot display. Okay, so that we can actually see what's on the window, which is nothing right now. Great. Now that all of this is finished, we can click on VS Code or whatever IDE you're on. We can build it. So on VS Code, we're going to go Control-Shift-B, and we're going to say CMake build. We'll click enter. And you'll see in the terminal, it will start building all the files. We'll give it a second. You might get some warnings, but that is from the library. Don't worry about it. There we go. You'll see build finished with warnings. Great. Okay, so not errors, warnings. Then if we go to our build folder, as we said in the CMake list, we're going to put all our exes in the bin folder. So we'll check in the bin folder, and there we go, SFML setup.exe. We're going to use our run extension to run it. And there is our window with the title of SFML setup. That concludes our setup video. We will be using the same CMake list throughout this tutorial. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.